anytime that I have moved to please other people, I took a L every single time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Body Lust, the podcast. I hope everyone has been great, been doing well, getting to whatever bag they've been trying to get to. For those of you who are new here, my name is Nicole Austin. I am your host. This is my podcast. And here we talk about all types of things dealing with your emotional, mental, professional growth. So basically, when I say, are you getting to the bag? It's not always about money, but it's just in general, whatever you are trying to see for your life. A little bit about me really quickly. Again, for those of you who are new here, I'm an entrepreneur overall. I am a life coach. I am a real estate wholesaler. I'm an author, still have a 9-to-5, and I'm a mother. Actually, it's my favorite title of them all. But this podcast, again, just encompasses all the experience I have to really, help whoever needs the help like I get from so many other avenues, right? So today, guys, I want to talk about a post that I actually put, my particular post on my IG, where I essentially said that a lot of women are getting in relationships or looking for a man so they can prove to the women in their family that they can get a man, when whole time a lot of these women had husbands with families across town, right? And that's all I said, very, very slight, not too much, but it really got me to thinking, like, why is it that we as people, or people in general, because I haven't gotten to the place to where I just don't care for quite some time, but why are we caring, or why are we making life decisions based upon what other people have done or what other people think, as opposed to what we need and what we want? Because don't forget, you are the only person that you are guaranteed to spend a lifetime with. Let's talk about it. About a year ago, one of my supporters on Instagram had sent me a DM asking me to deliver a speech this year. So it was around right before graduation last year, 2021, and he wanted me to make a video speech for his graduates. I believe he has a program where he deals with college kids, inner city, I believe, if I'm saying the right things. And he wants, people who have some kind of positive impact to tell the kids something. Now, I sat, and I'm actually going to make that video right as soon as I finish doing this podcast, but I sat for a while like wondering, what am I going to talk to them about? Because I'm thinking back at 17, 18, because it wasn't that long ago, right? About what would I have wanted to hear? What would have really impacted me? What would have really been something that, would have changed or altered my life? And honestly, I can't think of anything that someone at 35 would have told me, because to me, at 18, 17, I graduated high school at 17. So at 17, 35 is old. Like, they live in a whole different type of life. So you don't even know what I'm experiencing. And I wish back then I would have, of course, paid more attention to what people with experience had taught me, but nonetheless, I know how it goes. But I'm still racking my brain, because I'm like, I understand that maybe they won't get the full concept, but there's a lot of things that I learned, or I was taught, or people said to me when I was younger, that now really has sat with me, that now makes sense, and I can even use throughout my life, right? So I said, it's definitely going to be about this topic. It's going to be about doing and moving through life to please yourself first. And yes, of course, the topic that I was talking about on Instagram was about your love life, but this is about anything. I want to say I touched on this before in some kind of facet. I'm pretty sure maybe talking about other things, because I'm really, really big on ensuring that you're doing what you need to do for you, right? But the moment that you start only doing things for other people, the moment that you really get into this mindset of just being this ideal daughter or son or grandchild or employee, but it's not really what goes or aligns with what you want out of your life, is when you are going to really set into your misery. Is when your peace, if you even had it, is going to be diminished, because it's like you're not living for yourself. You're trying to create something that you basically are not, right? So I remember when I went to get my master's, a few of my cousins had had went to get their master's or had, was in the process of getting their master's, so on and so forth. And my mother would always make like comments. She didn't tell me I should go back to get my master's. Really, my mother always wanted me to go to nursing school because she felt like that was the way to secure a future, which, I mean, she's not all the way wrong, because, it's medical and there's always going to be need for nurses. You know what I'm saying? That's a very essential position. If COVID ain't teach you that, okay, very essential. But, she kind of was just like, well, this person's doing this person doing that. Keep in mind, I got my undergraduate degree from Howard, which is like the HBCU of HBCUs, right? But, this person doing this person doing that. And I was in a place to where I wasn't even using, at that time, I wasn't even using my degree from Howard, right? I was working at, when I started my master's, I believe either I was working at Avis still, which is a car rental place, or I had just started working at CarMax. So someplace in there. And or was it State Farm? Yeah, I don't know, but I was working somewhere, but it was somewhere that did not require a degree, right? And so she just kept talking about, this master's, and this person got a master's, and I'm not gonna lie to her. She did not tell me that she thinks I should go and get one. But again, the vibe was very much like, so you're the only person out here with a bachelor's, basically. And the bachelor's degree is nowadays like a high school diploma and all this type of stuff. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go back and get my master's, and I'm gonna be a teacher. Right? I'm just going to get my master's in English lit because my degree, my undergraduate degree is in journalism. So I'm going to get my master's in English lit. I'm going to go teach English at a middle school or high school or wherever. So I went back to school. I got my degree. I paid for most of my degree out of pocket, which my degree cost, I want to say somewhere around $35,000 to $40,000 for my master's degree. And it's collecting dust. Matter of fact, I don't even have the degree. I had still owed the school money for a class which they let me complete. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks. It was my final course. They let it slip through the cracks, and so I have my degree technically on paper. Like, I have all the credits. I'm technically a master's completed person, but I don't have the actual physical thing because I have to pay them whatever this amount was. Discrepancies with this, because that part was taken care of by student loans. That was a portion that was discrepancy with student loans. One day I'll pay them, but I just don't feel the need to even have it because I don't use my master's degree. So we're going to get right back into that. I don't use my master's degree. I went and got something, went and spent out of pocket. I would say I probably paid about $25,000 of that $40,000 out of pocket to get this degree that I do not even use. And it was behind, again, my mother didn't even particularly say I should go back, but the just continuously inferring. And it was behind wanting to please my mom. Everything that I am doing right now in my life, all the money I have made, the money I'm currently making, the money I will make in the future, the success I have had, has not had anything to do with any of my college degrees. If I did not go to college, I would be in the same place professionally, financially, that I am in now, if not a better place, because I wouldn't have used those years. And don't get me wrong, I love Howard. That's a big part of my life. But I would not have used those years to go to school. I would have been using those years to develop my craft in entrepreneurship. And as opposed to me just now finding success and being in the six figures off of my business, I probably could have done that 5, 6, 7 years ago. So that's why I say it is so important to ensure that you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your money, you're not wasting your energy, you're not investing into something that is not truly what you want. If we're going to take it right back to even the relationship portion, where you may be happier single, you may be in a better place just by yourself. You find more peace there. But because you want to prove to people, or you don't want to be the only one who's unmarried, or all your friends and your families in this particular boat or whatever, and you don't want to be the one that's sailing alone, you go and look for anyone or get with anyone. And now you're unhappy in union when you were happy by yourself, because you're proving this point. Right? Nothing of benefit will be gained to make other people happy while you are miserable. I want you to think about it. Think about anything in your life that you did for other people. How did that make you feel? Long term, long run. When you sit down, you think about it. How did that make you feel? Because me, I'm out of 25K. And still student loan debt, even though by the grace of God, that's practically paid off. But it's something I had to pay. All this money had to go into it. Now it's different when you're doing something that someone wants you to do and you also want to do it. So it's a different dynamic. So you're pleasing everyone. So wonderful, great. But how often does that really happen? How often is it that it works in that dynamic? Because I'll tell you this right now, if I have any entrepreneurs that's out there listening, no one is going to believe in you, or very few people. Let me not say no one. Very few people are going to believe in you until they start seeing results, especially your loved ones. You will have strangers support you, and it's not because they don't love you, y'all. It's because they can't see what you see. They don't have the vision that you have. So you have strangers supporting you, strangers showing you love, strangers showing up for you when your family didn't, when your friends didn't, because they don't know how. They don't see you in that place. They can't fathom it, right? So when you know that you want to do something for yourself, a lot of the time, you're just going to have to go and do that thing for yourself. And it's going to have to be just damn what the other people think and damn what they say. Because when you want to start listening to what people think you should do with your career, with your money, with your love life, with anything, then it puts you in a place, again, of discomfort. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, I wish that when I was 18, I would have listened to some of the advice like my mom gave me, for example, like my finances, or even in my early 20s. I wish I would have listened to some of the more structured things that she had told me, because it was really, really good information, right? And it wasn't necessarily about how I should move within my life, but just things that would make my life easier. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't take people's advice or follow through or look upon the experiences and the wisdom that people that have came before you have had. Of course, you should definitely look into that. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to major life decisions, when it comes to where you're seeing yourself in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, where you want to be, where you want to go, if that is completely dictated upon what someone else sees for you, what someone else wants for you, it is likely not going to put you in a space of comfort. So you may be asking, all right, Nicole, so all this is cute, but how do you stop worrying about what people think? How do you start making decisions, especially if you're conditioned to this, right? So how do you stop making decisions based on making other people happy and satisfying yourself? And that is really a case-by-case thing. And I had a client that was actually going through this with some family. And I said that you have to remember boundaries. Right? Remember the B word. We're going to call it the B word on this show. So I'm going to throw boundaries in here all the time. You have to set boundaries. First off, when setting the boundaries, you have to set the boundaries for yourself first. So I am not comfortable doing this, or I am comfortable doing this. If my family, friends, whatever, they need me to do something and it falls in that discomfort, I'm saying no. You can decide whether you want to be no period or no comma. You know what I mean? So no with an explanation, right? So it's setting those firm boundaries for yourself, and also setting boundaries that you need to follow personally, because you're not going to know how to set boundaries for other people that you want them to follow if the boundaries you're setting for yourself, you're not sticking to them. Said this before and I will say it again a million times. So your own personal boundaries that you have for yourself, that diet you want, the exercising, the making sure you're dedicating to your business, make sure you're dedicating to your family, your kids, whatever the case is, you have to follow through with that, right? And then it goes on to the boundaries that you have set for yourself when it comes to what you will and you will not do. And then it goes into the boundaries that you will allow from other people. So what you will and will not allow to happen to you. And you have to stick to them. Understand that it's not going to be easy in the beginning. It's going to be difficult, especially if you are someone who is in the habit of people pleasing, especially if you're someone who does not want some people to be mad at you or to have ill feelings towards you. But something that you need to realize is hard does not mean impossible. Hard does not mean it cannot be done or other people have not done it. Hard does not mean that at some point it won't get easy. Okay? You have to really start to make a habit of putting yourself first. And you will be surprised how many people have a hard time doing so. Actually making sure that their needs are met before they're meeting other people's needs. And that's because a lot of times we come from society where, it is our parents, they raised us, they gave us X, Y, and Z, and so we feel as if we have to repay them, or it's embedded in us culture wise, or whatever the case is. Or maybe you're the more stable. I remember seeing I don't know how many of you have seen Soul Food, the movie. It came out in 97. So I was a kid. I was 10, I think, when that movie came, 9 when that movie came out. Some age, some part around there. But that was one of my favorite movies to this day. And I remember they made Terry out to be the villain. If you haven't seen it, definitely go brush up on it. So this little comparison you may not understand, right? But Terry was the older sister. She was a lawyer. And she was the one who was really taking care of all the business for the family. Her sister, middle sister Maxine, took her husband. Well, it was her boyfriend back then when they were like teenagers. And now they're married and got kids. The husband wanted to quit his job, and Terry's husband wants to go quit his job and be a musician. And so everything falls on her shoulders. But they made her out to be just the wicked witch of the West. She was so mean. She was uptight. But really, looking back on it, retrospect, she was really carrying around everyone's dream. She was funding everyone's dream. She was taking care of everyone. So her needs fell on the back burner. Terry was really the saint. If when I look at it from the eyes of an adult, again, as a kid, not understanding, yeah, but looking at it as a 35-year-old woman, which is where probably right around where Terry was at that time, maybe, not quite 40 or just in her early 40s, I'm not sure. Looking at it from that scope, Terry, you did too much, sis. You paying all your mother's bills. You helping your sister open shops. You sitting across from the man that was yours, that your husband took from, that your sister took from you. Sis, if you like it, I love it, right? And that comes from, and then she finally just had a breakdown at the end or towards the end of the movie, because she had literally been carrying the burdens of everyone. She had literally been making everyone happy but herself since she was a teenager for years and years and years and years. Right? So, guys, I'm not trying to have this be a long old podcast because I feel like you get it. I don't have to drill this into you guys. Do what makes you happy within reason, as long as it's healthy and it's productive and it is something that is going to make your life better and get you to the place that you want to be. If it aligns with what other people want for you, perfect. That's wonderful. Everyone is happy. But if it doesn't, it just doesn't. That is not something that you need to be concerned with or worried about. You got to make it happen for you. And while it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning to say no and to start setting those boundaries and to start having those boundaries for yourself, having to follow your own personal boundaries, it is going to be worth it in the long run, because trust me, the best roads are not the easiest. The roads with the rewards that you are trying to get to typically going to have a lot of potholes, a lot of pit stops. It's going to have a lot of this inconveniences. It is up to you to get through those things so you can get to the sunshine at the end of the tunnel. All right. But definitely want to thank you guys so much again for listening to the podcast, for stopping by, for stopping through. I am actually trying to get some people onto the podcast upcoming here. My biggest thing, if I'm being honest with you, is just laziness, because I do have so much other things going on. And it's like I'm going to have to go get new equipment, because when you have, people on the show, there needs to be like a connector that you have to have. And then I have to also figure out how exactly can I have them call in if they're not actually going to sit here with me. So I'm not going to lie to you. It's just my plate is so full, and trying to add learning how to do that to it is not really something I want to do right now. However, I feel like this podcast has like phenomenal potential, and it can go so much further with having guests every here and there, so that we can really have a dialogue, because really I'm just sitting here talking to myself for the most part, right? And I want to have a dialogue. I want to even have difference of opinions and different perspectives to give to you guys, and debating and agreeing and so on and so forth. So stay tuned for that. I have promised myself, because my son actually, in this every summer he goes to New York with his dad. So while he's there, I'm like, okay, well, since the mother role kind of slows down in the summertime, let me take that time to figure out, how to get this done. I'm pretty sure it's very simple. I don't think it's going to be a lot. It's just, yeah, I'm building my business for stuff I'm going to talk about later on. I still got my life coaching clients, which has almost tripled in the clients that I had from a month ago, which I'm grateful for, but I'm busy doing that. The books are selling again. It's a lot, but it's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen. Like I said, my son will be in New York in 2 weeks, and then we're going to really figure it out and get that popping. But until next time, y'all, definitely, again, thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Please go ahead and follow the podcast if you're listening, and stay blessed and be safe.